Hi, I'm John. At 55, I've been working a long time, but I'm concerned about job security. I've seen so many changes happening around me, and so I want to be prepared. I hope this webinar can help me overcome these challenges and build my career confidence.
Hello, I'm Sarah. I've just turned 45 and I'm trying to come back to work after 10 years away. I've been trying to find a new job and really excited to learn strategies to stay relevant and achieve a better work-life balance in this webinar.
Do you know who this person is? Can you recognize the run? Old Tom Cruise. You see him running. Okay, what about the other two people you see here? Okay, do you recognize them? Have you been to his concert, the recent concert in Singapore? Yeah, Jackie. What about this lady? Huh? She just won an Oscar, the first Oscar for an Asian leading lady. Yeah? Now, let me ask you the magic question here. What do these three people have in common? Take a guess. Do you know that all three of them are the same age as me? Tom Cruise will be 61 soon, or maybe he just turned 61. Jackie will be 61 soon, and Michelle Yeoh has just passed 61. So what's the point of showing you these three people? Essentially, we are like ginger. The older we are, the spicier we are. That's what I'm going to emphasize to you guys today. How can you get career confidence after 40? Okay? And I'm guessing most, if not all of you are above this age. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Yuan, right? I will be your facilitator for the next couple of hours, right? I'm a practicing career coach. I've been having my practice as a private coach for the last 8 years now. And almost all of my clients are above 40, right? And I guess given that client segment, I'm exposed to a lot of issues that my clients come to me with. And I myself have also gone through these personal issues as well. So I just thought I'd share this with you because as you can probably guess with my enthusiasm, this is a topic near and dear to my heart. So hopefully by the end of today, you'll get some sense of what you can do and what are your strengths and advantages if you are above 40. Okay? Now, apart from this workshop, I also conduct other workshops for WSG. I believe this is my 5th or 6th year doing this already. So those of you who have not been to my previous workshop before and are interested in attending future ones, I will show you the dates later on towards the end of the session. Apart from doing workshops like this, I also train other people to become career coaches. Right? To date, I've trained almost 500 people to become career coaches or advisors in one way or another, or certified them through various programs. So again, those of you who are interested in doing this, you can also contact me as well. I'm going to start off by asking you a very typical question. Okay? You guys are here today attending this topic about career confidence, which implies to me that you have some main challenges that you are facing if you are in this age group, or you anticipate to have some challenges in this area. So what I'd like to understand from you, the participants in this workshop, what are your current challenges? Can you type into the chat box now? So ageism, getting a job positioning, limited job choices, qualification, language, too old, too expensive, no reference, overqualified, okay, over 50, unable to accept lower paid job, communication challenge, transitioning, much younger boss, age discrimination, difficulty getting a job. Thank you so much for sharing all this with me. Okay, sometime in March this year, I actually did a survey asking people, right, what were their top few career concerns? And they gave me the results here. And there were more than 300 people, and I assume all of them were above 40. Okay, essentially, their top 5 concerns were these that I'm listing it down now. So age discrimination was number 1, which many of you have just mentioned. Job security. Skills, relevant skills and training. Having career advancement. Health and work-life balance, which was pretty close to career advancement issues. So these were the top 5 issues. So I'm going to try and deal with these concerns as a backdrop to the whole discussion today. What I think needs to be done is to really understand what these concerns involve. So let's go through that in the next few minutes. So if you talk about age discrimination, essentially it is about what? Prejudice, unfair treatment based on age. So what is the real reason for this? Okay? So sometimes it's like stereotypes and then some biasness against older workers. And what's the impact here? It basically limits your job opportunities, your career advancement, and sometimes it reduces your job satisfaction. Yeah? Okay. So let's talk about job security. It's basically the likelihood of maintaining stable employment over time, right? And what is the root cause? So it could be fluctuations in the economy, changes in the industry, automation, AI, maybe even company restructuring. Okay. And how does this impact us? It increases our stress levels because we are very insecure, right? Financially, we are very unstable, and then potentially there's unemployment looming around the horizon for us. Okay. What about this next one? Relevant skills and training. Okay. So it is the ability to acquire and maintain skills that are in demand in the marketplace. Why do we need to do this? Why do we need to keep making our skills relevant? It's because there's so much change. Technology change, industry requirements have changed, and therefore there are gaps, skill gaps. And how is this going to impact us? So we will find it difficult in securing jobs. We're going to find it difficult in getting job advancement, promotions. Yeah? So let's talk about career advancement. What is this? This is the process of progressing in one's career through promotions, increased responsibilities, or maybe even new job opportunities. And what's stopping this? Essentially, is limited opportunities through maybe discrimination in age, or maybe through lack of training, or maybe lack of mentorship. And how is this going to impact us? Stagnation. Our career is not growing, it's stuck. And because of that, our job satisfaction levels are very low, and potentially we may lose our income or have a very restricted income or income ceiling as well. Health and work-life balance. I'm sure you all know this. What is health and work-life balance? Okay, it is the ability to maintain a healthy balance between our professional and our personal lives. And why is there an imbalance? It could be maybe due to high job demands, long working hours, lack of support, or flexible working arrangements. Okay, and how is this going to impact us? Increased stress again. Okay, burnout, right? Potential negative impact on our health and physical and mental well-being, right? Physical and mental well-being has been discussed so much over the last few years already. Now, what I want to highlight here, when you look at all these definitions, what are the key words you see that keeps repeating itself? There's one or two that actually keeps coming up all the time. This, opportunities and changes. A lot of the issues that we are facing is really because there's so much change going around us and we cannot react to the change. But at the same time, because of the changes, we feel that the opportunities are less. So because of these keywords and issues, what I'm going to try and emphasize today is the following outcomes for you. Okay, number one, how you recognize if there is age discrimination, okay, and how you can overcome this. Next thing, how can you have job security or sense of security so that you can stay relevant? How are you able to continuously create new opportunities for yourself for career advancement and to pursue your passions? And lastly, how can we achieve better work-life balance? Now, there's a lot of stuff going through here. Now, given that I only have 2 hours or so, I won't be able to go deep dive into a lot of things, but I'm going to give you some references to videos that I've done before, which will help the process along. These are the topics here. So let's deal with the first one. This notion of ageism. Many of you have typed in this actual word in your comments about issues that you're facing. So what is ageism? Ageism, essentially, if you look at the dictionary, is basically prejudice or discrimination on the grounds of a person's age, right? When I was going through this, I found something very, very interesting here. It seems that the word ageism, right, although it may have been in existence before, but it wasn't really used until only recently. If you look at the trend here, from 1950s onwards, and then it sort of peaked about a couple of years ago. Are we saying that before this, ageism didn't exist? Is that true? I don't think so. I'm sure previously there was some form of ageism, right? But maybe not more people are aware of this. And why are they aware of this? I'm going to argue throughout this whole session is that really it is about these two aspects here. That we have roles and responsibilities and we need to balance that. We also have expectations and these expectations are out of whack with reality. And because of that, we get more conscious of this notion of ageism and how it affects us. Let's understand ageism, how is it going to impact on our careers? I already mentioned that in the table just now. So let me just run through this very quickly. So obviously the first thing on everybody's mind is this: limited career advancement and opportunities, right? People think we are too old to do the things that we could have done if we were younger. Okay. Negative perceptions, negative stereotyping. Okay. Typically saying, oh, he's of that age where he's too old and therefore, no, this type of job only needs younger people. Older people won't know what to do. Okay. This leads to discrimination in hiring. Some employers may purposely select younger people. Right? If that's happening to us, it will affect our mental health as well. We get so frustrated. I come across so many of my clients. They get so angry, so depressed. They feel that they're being discriminated against, and it bothers them a lot. And by doing that, it clouds their judgment. Okay, so it affects our mental health. But I also need to put down the employer's point of view as well. Employers, if they forego hiring older workers, they lose a lot of valuable experiences and insight. Now, I want to talk about how we can deal with this, how it looks like in two aspects. One, if you are existing employee, that means you are currently working in a company, okay, or you are looking for a new job. So let's talk about the first one. You are currently in a job, working in a company. If that is you, what are the signs that tell you that you are being discriminated against due to your age? Can you type into the chat box, what are some of the signs that will tell you you are being discriminated against due to your age in the company that you are working in? Can you just type into the chat box? Okay, being asked the age, not getting opportunities, seldom sent for courses, volunteer to go, but you're not setting. Pass up for promotion, right? Not invited to meetings, being labeled, unpleasant treatment, given less important responsibilities. All very strong signs. Sometimes you feel isolated because you are not invited for meetings, or you're put one side, you're doing things on your own, you're not being involved in much of the company's activities, right? Some stereotyping is involved. You're just asked to do things that people think only older people can do. Sometimes you get this sense that people say comments about your age. Say, uncle, you're too old, or by the fact of calling you uncle already means that they think that you're older already. So if those are things that are happening in the workplace, how do you think you can overcome this perception of ageism in your current workplace? Let's deal with that. Okay, so some of the things that you can do is maybe understand, why is this happening? I've come across many of my clients, when they think they see ageism happening in the workplace, they try and talk to the supervisors or talk to people and understand why they see it this way. Sometimes it may not be discriminated against by age. There could be other reasons why they may not be involved in the work. So I would always try and find out why. Just try and understand why. Okay, you may be able to talk to HR. Some HR people are very, very sympathetic with, or maybe your boss is not very perceptive about his comments or the things happening with you. So maybe you want to raise this with him. Now, the other thing is to find out is, has this been happening to other people? Whether it's other people of your age group, or whether it's other people, even the younger ones also are getting the same treatment, right? Always have to find out. Last but by no means least is really know your options. I saw somebody put in the chat box saying that quit the job. I'm not asking you to do that, but that is certainly an option. Okay?
I noticed that younger colleagues were often given more opportunities for training and promotions. I felt like my age was holding me back, even though I had more experience and knowledge in my field. I think I need to be more proactive and seek out training and networking opportunities. I must also make sure to showcase my skills and accomplishments to my supervisors so that they can clearly see how I can still value add.
Now, John's reaction is a very typical reaction and thinking of a lot of my clients. Now, I just came across this particular formula recently and I wanted to share this with you. C here, C stands for change. Change will only happen if we are dissatisfied enough, if we have a vision about what could be, and we take the first step. And all these combined is greater than the resistance to change. That's when change occurs. Okay? So, in your employment place, when you are faced with whether it's discrimination or whether it's non-performance or you're not being promoted, okay, the worst thing you can do is sit there and do nothing. You need to do something. The most important thing here is for you to understand what are your options and you choose which option is best for you. So let's quickly go into the next portion. When you're looking for a job, what are the signs that ageism exists? Let's just say you're going through job ads now. What are the words in the job ads that tells you that they prefer younger people? Fast-paced environment, energetic, fast-paced, active, fresh grads preferred, multitasking, fast-paced. So a lot of those words they use gives the perception that they want someone who is much younger. Okay, so some typical words will be young and energetic. Okay? Digital native. That's assuming that the older people are lousy at using digital tools. Right? Fast-paced environment. Recent graduate. High potential. Okay? It's as if older people do not have high potential. Given that those are the words some companies would use to tell you that they're actually looking for younger people to apply for this job. So what can you do? What can you do as a job seeker who is over 40, over 50, looking for a new job? First things first. You got to make sure that the company that you're going for is a company that has traditionally accepted older workers. No point applying to companies that do not have a very good track record of hiring older workers. You are swimming upstream. How do we know what these companies are? Actually, to be honest, I just did a quick Google to try and find out the profile and the news of certain companies, and these were the names that came up. I'm sure there are more. Say which companies in Singapore have traditionally have a track record of hiring older workers. Bang, this few came up already. And once I went through this, I went dig deeper into all the news and the track record. Yeah, they certainly have a track record of hiring older workers. I'm sure there are more outside, but so I just want to give you a very quick example of some of the companies that do hire. So the information is out there. The other thing I want to emphasize is this. We need to be sure that whatever role that we're going after is suitable for us. If you're over 40, over 50, what are some of the qualities that we have that the younger people may not have as much? Essentially, if you look at it, you have the skills and experience that a lot of younger people don't have. But also very important is this part here. You have experience in working and interacting with people. Okay? So you know how people think. Somebody mentioned insights into human nature. Right? So if you leverage on these two aspects, what are some of the possible job roles you think that allow us to exercise on these qualities? What are some possible job roles that allow us to present ourselves so much better by highlighting these qualities that we have? Again, another quick Google suggests this. Jobs in the healthcare sector, social services, education and training, financial planning and financial management, customer service, all these, right, need people who are experienced in interacting with other people, who are experienced and have the insight in human nature, okay, to work with people to manage things. Many roles here. So my message here is very simple. Find a company that accepts older workers and welcomes older workers. Secondly, get into a job or a role that allows you to leverage on what you are better at compared to the younger people. Okay? Now, how do we do this? How do we identify a suitable role or career for our age group? Now, there are lots of ways to do this. Those of you who have been through my previous workshops, this little exercise will be very familiar to you. Now, I don't have enough time here to go through this exercise with you, so I'm going to give you a link to a video extracted from a workshop. He's essentially talking about this little exercise called Meaningful Experience. Okay, so I urge you, if you have gone through this, I urge you to go and try this out. Essentially, what it does is that it helps you to identify what motivates you, right? What are the elements in your job or career that you prefer to have in your next step? Once you understand that, then, it's easier for you to then nail down or shortlist what suitable roles or careers are good for you. Next, build a referral network. Okay? In other words, build relationships. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this later on, but I want to very quickly go on to this last part, which is how you communicate and identify your problem-solving skills. I am a very big fan of trying to understand, trying to position ourselves as someone who can help other people, right? You are only valued in the workplace if you are seen as being able to help other people. It's not how good you are. It's about how good you are at helping other people's problems. So it's not about you. It's about how you help them. That is the basic approach that you need to do as you go forth. Even if you're under 40, right? You need to understand that you are only valuable if you are seen as being able to help other people. So you need to be able to identify what your problem-solving skills are, what problems you solve. Okay? Again, I have a simple workshop on this. Essentially, in the blue box, you list down what your skill sets are, your experiences are. In the yellow box is basically identifying what problems you solve. Okay? And then in the brown box here is how you solve it. I really want to emphasize this because this is a very fundamental approach to the way we should be looking at how we manage our careers. All right? So fundamentally, it is about how we can identify what problems we solve so that we can bring that to the marketplace and tell people, I can help you solve that particular problem because I have the skills, I have the experience, and this is how I do it. So these are the things that I would suggest you can do if you are a job seeker over 40, looking for something suitable for you. Right? At the end of the day, identify what companies have a good track record who accepts older workers. Identify roles that allow you to leverage on your experiences and your ability to interact with people. Build a referral network, which I'll talk about in a little while. All right? And make sure you know what you are good at, what problems you can solve, what value add you can bring to the table. All right? And then you communicate that to the various parties concerned.
Having been out of the workforce for 10 years, I now realize that I need to be more targeted in my approach to companies. I also need to better understand how I can value add to these companies. This will mean having to retrain and learn new skills to stay relevant too.
Sarah's comment is very typical of many clients when I bring this concept to them. Okay, this notion that when you want to go and get a job and you want people to hire you, it's not about how good you are. It's not about what skills and experience you have. It is about how you use the skills and experience to help the other people, what you value add to them. So let me give a summary of what we just discussed over the last 20 minutes or so. We talked about these two, okay? Identifying ageism or age discrimination in the workplace as well as in employment, okay? We talked about what are the signs we can detect from these two environments and how we can overcome this. But essentially, if you look at it, we need to be able to leverage on what we are good at versus younger people. In other words, the experiences that we have, and also our ability to have insights. I like that phrase, insights into human nature based on our experiences in dealing with people, and look for roles and opportunities that allow us to leverage on this. I saw this diagram recently. This is a ladder. Okay, you see the ladder here where they have denial, excuses, blaming, you're waiting and hoping things change. If you are in this part of the ladder, I need you to climb the ladder higher, okay? Because you are basically letting things happen. You are not taking charge, you're not taking control, you are worrying about things that you cannot control. What I'd rather you do is really climb up the ladder. Climb up the ladder, be accountable, acknowledge that what is happening out there. Take a position, own your position and find a solution, and then go out and implement a solution. The fact that many of you are here, I hope that you are in this ladder, this part of the ladder, where you feel that I need to know what to do in order to take action. So hopefully you are in this part of the ladder. The first outcome, recognize age discrimination and learn strategies to overcome it. Put a tick there. So let's talk about relevance now.
I'm really worried about this. Having been out of the workforce for many years, I'm wondering how I can get back and do something meaningful, especially at my age.
Yes, this is also troubling me. I'm worried that my company will introduce new processes or technologies, and I cannot cope.
The comments made by Sarah and John here are very typical of a lot of clients that I've been through. Essentially, it is about how you cope with change. How you cope with change. So incidentally, my last workshop was actually on this topic, on how you cope with change. So essentially, when change is happening all around us, okay, then we have this sense that we need to do something to catch up, right now. We're always trying to run and catch up, and because there's so many things that's happening around us, if we stay still, we are falling behind. So the short message here is this: we cannot be passive. We need to be able to get off our butts and do something, make an effort to try and learn new things. Now, the next few slides that I'm going to go through with you have one underlying assumption. You have gone through the whole process of trying to identify what type of job or what type of role that you think is suitable for you. All right? So as far as change is concerned, many people have talked about this. Okay, what are the changes that's happening? I'm just going to go through some of the key things that many people have talked about. Economic slowdown. Many people are saying that this year is not going to be a very good year. Okay, end of the year, there was already started some retrenchments, and some people are saying that more will happen. Okay, this thing has been happening, especially in the last 1 year or so. The growth of AI, cybersecurity has been happening for a long time now. Digitization happening as well. Okay. Healthcare, social services, education, finance, insurance seems to be growing, especially in Singapore. So that is a positive change. But one fundamental aspect here is this: companies that we would like to work for are finding that they themselves need to be able to cope with uncertainty, cope with volatility, which also means that we ourselves have to be able to adjust to the changes that we anticipate coming along. So how can we then overcome this? How can we make ourselves more relevant? So these are the things that I'm going to go through with you one by one. So let's talk about the first one: analyzing industry trends. Analyzing industry trends. So why is this important? We need to know what's going on. We need to know, we are seeing so many things happening around us. We need to know what are the trends happening in the industry. Okay, how do we find this out? Now, for those of you who are desk jockeys who would like to do research, then obviously there are a lot of online sources that's available to you. Okay, MOM, EDB, My Careers Future, also a very good website. Okay, there's also another website which I would urge you all to go for. It's Skills Framework, My Skills Framework. Okay, this is within the My Careers Future. You can link to that. So let me just show you the website itself there. Okay, so you can see the Skills Framework there. Okay, it is really about a research done for different industries and what are the job types in the different industries. and what are the job requirements for those industries itself. Okay, so by going through that, you also understand the target jobs that you're going for, what is required for you to fulfill that role. Okay, so analyzing industry trends is something you need to do. So industry trends. We need to understand what we have now, our current skill sets, versus the skill sets we need in that new role that we're going into, or that new career that we're going into. What do we have? What we don't have? Again, I use this exercise many times in my workshops. Okay, I want to go through a very truncated process with you for this time, because I need to explain this further. So you can see here, this is a matrix, 4 boxes. Okay, the top line is competency. I'm good at this, I'm not good at this. Then the vertical side is what I like to do, I don't like to do. So it's preference. Okay, so if we take a look at the purple box, so it's a combination of I'm good at this and I like to do this, which means what? Which means it's basically things that I'm motivated to do. What are the skills and experience that you have that you are really good at and you enjoy using? For me, I enjoy coaching. I enjoy working with people. I enjoy doing sessions like this. So that is my motivated skills. Okay. Now, let's take a look at the red box. I'm good at this, but I don't like to do it. Can you think about yourself now? What are the things in your job or your career that you are good at, but you don't like to do? If you have this, these are called burnout skills. The more you use it, the more stressful you become. Okay? So for me, my burnout skills was chasing numbers when I was working in a large corporation. Right? I'm not very sales driven. I don't go after numbers to achieve P&L, although people told me that I'm good at it, but I just found it very, very stressful. So for me, that was burnout skill. Orange box. What's in the orange box? I'm not good at this, but I really like to do it. These are skills we like to develop further. Now, for me, about a couple of years ago, I had a large chunk there for developmental skills was how do I create better webinars and presentations like what you see today. Okay, I wasn't good at it, but I enjoyed doing it. So I went through the whole process of learning new techniques, new ways of doing webinars, workshops like this, presentations. So do you have skills in that particular box where you want to develop further? Then the last box here is basically you're not good at it and then you don't like to do it. So in essence, maybe it's not so relevant to you. Okay, now you go through the exercise, you put down the list of all the skills in those categories. Okay, so once you have done that, what does it mean to you now? Now, if you have already identified a job or career that you're going for, then once you have done this exercise, it's very clear to you where the gaps are. Okay, because you are able to identify which skills are transferable to that new job or career, right? And which skills you need to learn to stay relevant. Okay, even if it's in the same job that you're doing now, in the same industry, you can still go through this process because believe you me, your skills, your job, your career will continually evolve. So you need to be able to evolve along with it. This is the part where I talk a little bit more about building your network, consulting your network to become more relevant. Okay, why do you need to do this? What is it about our network that allows us to become more relevant? Think about it. The people in the circle are the people who are on the ground. They are the soldiers who are doing the day-to-day battles in the roles, in the industry that you may want to go for. So they are very, very important source of information for you. So for those of you who are desk jockeys who prefer just to do all your research and behind a computer, I really urge you to get out from behind a computer because they are a very important source of information for you. Okay? Once you develop a good relationship with them, they will become your supporters. If they know that Leslie wants this particular job, they will be on the lookout for you. Okay? They will then be your referrals. If they spot opportunities for you, they will say, Margaret is good for this. I want to refer Margaret to this job. Okay? Sometimes they may even search for you, especially if the relationship is good. But I think at the end of the day, your network are the people who can help you uncover opportunities. This is such a powerful channel. I hope you all don't ignore this. Okay? I know many job seekers traditionally have been trying to find jobs just by applying to advertised jobs. Now, there are a lot of reasons why this may not be successful. Right? Hidden job opportunities are there for you to uncover, but it needs a lot more work than just staying behind a desk and typing in your applications. You need to do a lot more work on this. I will share with you again a couple of activities you can do to build your network or build relationships. One is information interviews, and the other one is about a network building plan. What are the steps you can do to actually approach and develop a network? Okay, so the two links are again extracts of a full webinar. So take a look at that. A lot of information there, a lot of tips and suggestions as to how you can develop further in building your relationships. I'm going to expand on the opportunities part in the next section, but I think what I want to emphasize here is this. Okay, when we are doing career exploration, there are various things that you need to focus on. So in the first part here, what company or job is aligned to your interests and traits? Essentially, you want to focus on what are the tasks or the organizations that are out. And then you need to look internally and tell yourself, what is my interest? If you are looking at what type of work best supports what's important to you, your values, right? Then you need to focus on the environment around you. You have to assess what is important to you in your career. So the exercise about meaningful experiences can help here. If you're looking at what skills organizations are looking for in the area that you are very interested in, right? Obviously, look at what are the job functions, the job requirements. Then you need to assess what do you do well. So that's where the skills matrix exercise comes in. I always find that this framework is very, very useful for my clients to fine-tune what are the things they need to focus on for particular parts of their career exploration. So we've done the trends, the current skill sets, the consulting your network, then skills gaps, we talked about that a little while just now, and then you basically have to go, if you need training, you go for training. So that's a very simplified steps, which I think I don't need to expand too much. I want to touch very quickly on this notion of AI. Because every workshop I have, somebody always asks me about AI. How can you overcome AI? I'm sure unless you're living under a rock, you will know all these things about ChatGPT and all that and what's happening out there. I've been following the AI scene very closely for the last 3 months or so. And practically almost every day there's something new. While many of us can go and learn technical things, but how can we, especially if we are over 40 or over 50 in my case, right? How can we cope with all the new technologies that's coming in? Are you saying that we need to go and learn new technology skills like Python programming, prompt engineering? Do we need to learn all those? Maybe if you have the inclination for it. But what I would suggest, especially for people in our age group, is to really take a step back and focus on what are the non-technical skills we can use to cope with the advent of AI. What do you think are some of the non-technical skills you can use to help you cope with artificial intelligence coming in? Caring skills, experience, sharing, storytelling, I like that. Customer service. So it's a lot of people interaction, a lot of relationship building. Empathy, so roles that require empathy, human interaction. Yeah, people skills, how we interact with people. I want to drill down even further than that. Okay, yes, people skills are very important, but I think there are other aspects I want to drill down and be more precise in this. But I didn't come up with all these terms about non-tech skills. I read from various sources and I've compiled this list here to sort of share this with you guys. Okay. Firstly, we need to be able to analyze what's going on. Look at the problem, analyze what the problem is. Okay. Once we can analyze the problem, then we can see how we can use AI to solve that problem. So analytical skills become quite important for us, right? Building relationships, many of you have put that point in there already. We need to be able to focus on the human interaction, things that technology current moment cannot replace. We need to be very flexible and adaptable. Like I mentioned, every day there's something new that comes up, which means almost every day we have to change, right? For me, when I was doing this particular workshop, I was trying to learn all the new stuff to try and use, to try and present it in a better way. We also need to have a sense of curiosity. Again, this is the mindset here. We need to be curious. How can I use this? How can this tool, this AI tool, benefit me? We need to be able to detect when something is not, so bias detection. Now, this is very, very important because those of you who have tried to use ChatGPT or any other large language model, right, you will notice that many of the answers that they give are actually not very accurate. Okay? And if you try and regenerate the answers again, they will tell you something different. So my rough rule of thumb here is this: whenever I use such AI like ChatGPT or Bard or Bing, is that I don't rely on the first answer they gave me. I try and see if actually does that make sense or not. If not, let's regenerate and see whether there's a better answer that comes out. I want to be able to look at it in a more neutral way. We can't do everything ourselves, especially if you're working with younger people. Work with them, delegate the duties to them. Say, hey, Tom, I think you're very good at this. Can you help me use the ChatGPT or other tools to sort of find out what's going on here? Collaborate with other people. Okay? Work in teams, right? To leverage not only on their expertise, but also maybe their expertise in using AI. And obviously, this thing about continuous learning is very, very important. Even at my age 61, I am still continuously learning about how to use AI. Every time I come across a new AI website, I save the link onto my desktop and then I go play around with it all the time.
Wow, I think I need to be more systematic in my job hunt. I must keep myself informed of what's happening in the market and find out how best I can value add. Now it's time to reskill and upskill myself.
Yes. Staying relevant is a constant activity we all must do. Things are changing so quickly, we cannot be passive. However, it's also important that, at our age, we also pay attention to what we love to do and how best we can continue to do this in today's world of work.
John and Sarah's reactions are very typical reactions of my clients when I bring them through this process. So you may be also thinking about it that way. So very quickly, before we go for our break, let me summarize this. We talked about how, in this section, how to stay relevant. And essentially, it is talking about how we cope with change. And how can we then, what are the things we need to do in order to try and catch up and ride the wave of change. And we talked a little bit about how AI seems to be the driver for change in many instances. Okay? So at the end of the day, my short message here is we cannot be reactive or passive. We have to be proactive in going out, learning new things, and trying to understand what's happening here. Okay, before we round off for this section, I want to bring up this thing. Remember this thing here about changes? Okay, I also want to bring up this thing about job security. Now, job security is really related to this notion of making sure that we have the skills and training so that we can cope with change. I want to make the distinction between job security and career security. Two very different notions. What do you think the difference is? Let's talk about job security. Job security is what? It's basically stable employment over time. But the implication here is what? It is related or associated with a particular job or particular company. Correct? So many times when we say job security, it's about staying in the same job or staying in the same company. That's what we mean by job security. Okay? What about career security then? What do we mean by this? What is job security good or career security better? I want to highlight to you this particular concept. Every job is temporary. Have you come across this phrase? Every job is temporary. Right? Those of you who are working currently now, right? Don't be so confident in saying that, wow, I will have a job forever, right? Every job is temporary. So if you have this in your mindset, then really it is not about job security anymore, because at some point that job will go away, right? So it is what? It's about being adaptable to change in the market base. Okay? So this is related to what we do in our career, not so much in the job. Okay? It is about what? Staying relevant by continuously or upskilling. And it is also about being flexible to be able to transit to other roles, leveraging on our competencies and interests. The question you need to ask yourself now is this: which one should I have? Should I have job security or should I have career security?
Yes, I want to feel secure about my job prospects and my career. Given that we cannot prevent or stop change, then perhaps it's better for us to focus on getting career security instead of just relying on companies to give us job security. But how can I do this?
That is the magic question. How do we achieve security? There are two areas we need to do. One is how we think and what we do. So let me talk about how we think first. You have heard this before. We cannot avoid change. We might as well embrace change with the wave of change. Okay? Don't fight against change. We need to take responsibility for our own careers. We cannot leave it to the company or anybody else to say, I won't apply for this training because I know my company will send me for this training. No, you got to be responsible for your own career. You need to understand what you need to do to be able to progress further. No, don't rely on other people. Okay? This notion of every job is temporary. Have it in your mind. Okay? Nothing is permanent. Nothing is secure. Okay? You have to continuously improve. Actions. Show your value. Show your value. Okay? In fact, I would even argue exceed expectations. This goes against maybe many people who have been working for a long time. Is that many people, especially those that are working in one company for maybe 8, 9, 10, 15 years, right? We get very passive. We sit down and think, oh yeah, I've been loyal to the company will be loyal to me. Maybe it will, chances are they won't. Okay? You have to continuously show and prove that you can still add value. And even better, if you can exceed what other people expect you to do. Obviously, one of the key actions is to stay current. Make sure you're up to date on all the things that's happening out there, especially in your job. Okay? This thing, I think I mentioned earlier on. Okay? Instead of being so hard up about, I have this particular job title, I have this responsibility, these were my duties. Focus more on what you have done. What are your accomplishments? What are you capable of? Especially for people in our age group. Right? It's more about that than what your past responsibilities were. You have to be able to showcase and communicate what you have done, what you have accomplished, so that people will know what you are good at and how you can help them. Don't be afraid of being sidetracked into a new area that you may not be familiar with. Your company may tell you, Tom, I need you to go to this particular role because I think we need your experience there or whatever. Don't be afraid to do that. Look upon it as a new challenge, a new learning area. All right, so we talk about job security, okay? And we talk about career security. So the whole process of staying relevant. So now let's talk about opportunities. Right? Let's talk about how we create opportunities.
Yes, I'm worried that, as I get older, my opportunities become lesser and lesser. I can see that this can be due to perceptions about my ability at my age, and it also depends on my ability to adapt to change or learn new skills.
Thanks, John. I think the key thing here is we need to understand why we need to create opportunities. Why do we need to continuously create opportunities even at our age? Okay. So the first thing we have to understand here is this. We need to stay competitive. As the job market evolves, staying up to date with the industry trends and acquiring new skills can really help you remain competitive and relevant. We need to adapt to change. Change is coming all the time, right? The job market, the business environment are always changing. So we need to create opportunities that allows us to adapt and grow in our career, right? We want to be satisfied with what we do, maximize our job satisfaction. So pursuing new opportunities and passions can lead us to better job satisfaction and a more fulfilling career. Yeah. And what about experience? We are older workers. We need to be able to leverage on our experience. We need to be able to capitalize on this wealth we have, okay? And the knowledge and experience so that we can explore new roles and new industries and new opportunities, all right? And lastly, I think, but for some of you, maybe the most important, maintaining financial stability, okay? Continuously creating new opportunities can help ensure, right, your financial stability and job security and career security as you grow older. Okay? So hopefully now you understand that even at our age, and maybe especially at our age, we need to continuously grow and develop and source for new opportunities. Question is, how do we do this then? How do we do this? All right. First thing here is this. Always learn, continuous learning. Lifelong learning is a buzz phrase now, but it's just so true, no? Okay? So instead of being stuck in one of the comfort zones or the fear zones, go into the learning zone and then you go into the growth zone. This notion of coping with change, the underlying way we cope with change and the underlying way we create new opportunities is really just to continue learning. Right? We talked about building relationships earlier on. So I'm going to emphasize this again. Right? Opportunities come when we develop good relationships with other people. I like this thing I saw recently, Building relationships is like a Wi-Fi connection. The stronger the connection, the more opportunities you can access, right? We also want to be able to make sure we can leverage on transferable skills. So that's why I find this exercise that I mentioned earlier on just so important for us, because then we know what we are good at, where we want to learn more. And I always mention this, okay? Be open to change. When new opportunities come, especially in terms of AI or whatever, if they ask you, hey, Herman, go and learn something about the AI, see how it can help us. Go, grasp the opportunity. Okay? Go and get it. A very quick summary. Just now, I spent a bit of time trying to make sure we acknowledge the fact that we need to continuously develop new opportunities for our own career. And what were the reasons involved? Okay? I talked about continuously learning. When you learn new knowledge, you apply the knowledge, you create opportunities for yourself. Okay? You build relationships. These relationships will tell you of opportunities that are hidden. They are not advertised. Transferable skills. How we apply skills that we already have in other areas. What skills do we need to learn in order to grow in the other areas? And then also, don't be afraid to go and do something different. Don't be afraid to go and do something different. Okay?
As the saying goes, with change comes opportunities too. I realize that staying proactive and open to new opportunities is crucial for my career growth, even after 40.
Yes. I realize that it's never too late to start planning my career and creating new opportunities. By focusing on my strengths and staying adaptable, I can continue to grow and succeed in my career, regardless of my age.
I want to highlight this new website that came up recently. Okay? It's called the Careers Finder website. And it's actually done by WSG, and it's something that they use AI to help us identify new careers. So let me share with you the short video, which is about a minute and a half.
WSG has also worked with GovTech and SkillsFuture Singapore to roll out the Careers Finder feature on the job portal. Careers Finder is a digital tool that offers a systematic way to plan your career. It helps you look for opportunities that align with your skill sets and broadens your career prospects. Instead of spending long hours doing your own research on the current jobs and skills in demand, Careers Finder does it for you. Careers Finder is powered by multiple algorithm models to collect data from a variety of sources. With that, Careers Finder can analyze and recommend new career and skills opportunities based on your profile. This feature allows you to consider career options that you may not even be aware of. As the backend system continues to gather data on a daily basis, the recommender tool will become more refined and more powerful over time. To get started, key in your occupation. Select your current skill sets from work and outside of work. Next, select your desired career path and preferred occupation. If you already have skill sets suitable for that role, select them. Now let Careers Finder work its magic and personalize the recommendations for you. Click on each suggestion to find out more, and you can also see how many people like you have made similar transitions. Besides matching your skill sets to in-demand jobs, Careers Finder can also recommend courses you can take to build up your skills further in your preferred occupation. If you're ready, proceed to select the available jobs on My Careers Future portal and start your applications. Careers Finder is a powerful tool that can help expand a person's career pathways, giving you options to develop and grow professionally.
It is a tool for you to use, but you, at the end of the day, have to be the one to make the decision. You have to be the one to take action. So, we talked about creating opportunities, continually creating opportunities for career advancement and pursuing our passion. Okay. So, let's talk about work-life balance. And in this work-life balance, I'm going to talk about this notion of you wanting to work in a job which has got less responsibilities or a lower sounding title. All right. Okay. Health and work-life balance essentially is the ability to maintain a healthy balance between professional and personal life. Now, I want to ask you this question now. If you are facing an imbalance in your work life, what are the things that's giving you that imbalance? Somebody said long working hours, too many meetings, heavy workload, family commitments. Very true. Lower efficiency, maybe because of too many things that you have to do, right? Wow, 24/7, I can totally relate to that, man. Energy drain faster, mind not working, too many things to learn or not learning anymore. Okay, less sleeping time, health. Okay, sometimes all these things becomes, it affects our mental and health, physical well-being. Time zone differences, totally understand that as well. I've gone through that. Okay, very good. Now, if I were to boil it down to very simple concepts, this notion of work-life balance has been something that's been discussed and theorized for many, many years. Okay, essentially all the theories boil down to one aspect. Okay, it is what? It is a conflict, right, between our roles and our responsibilities. Okay, what we do in a personal life and what we do in a work life, there is a conflict, right? Is it about, for example, if somebody is working but you have children that you need to take care of, you have elderly parents that you need to take care of, it becomes a conflict, right? And it's because of this conflict that is giving us stress.
This is so true. One of the reasons I left the workforce was to have time to look after my young children, and I could not cope with work demands.
For me, it was having to work long hours in the office and little time for the family. In fact, now that my parents are getting on, I need to also look after them, and this is worrying me too.
So the question is, how do we maintain work-life balance? In fact, what John has mentioned is also something I could relate to, because one of the key reasons why I left the corporate workplace to start my own practice here is because of the fact that I need to look after my aging parents. So we all have our priorities. We all need to do things that we haven't done before in order to seek a balance. Okay? So what do we do in order to find balance? Now, there's lots of literature out there on this. The following points I'm going to share with you are things that I have done, so maybe you will find it useful as well. So the first thing here is to make sure what your priorities are. What's important to you? You have to sit down and go through which one is more important. List this down. Talk it over with your spouse if you need to. Right? You need to identify this, because if you're not sure what is important to you, then you are always going to have that stress. Within this list of priorities, you need to also make sure you take care of yourself. You yourself is also a priority. Don't put yourself as last of the priority. Yeah? In fact, it should be among the top few, if you ask my own personal opinion. Right? Because if you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of other people? Right? Take care of yourself, making sure you are also important to yourself. Now, have very clear demarcations of what is work and what is personal life. Somebody that mentioned being available 24/7. I totally understand this, because in my past corporate life, I had to deal with people in different time zones and all right? But I had to make the difficult decision and say, I cannot keep doing this. I've had to manage that demarcation. So I had to work with my team. I have to work with my bosses to tell, let's seek a balance somewhere. You cannot expect us to, as a team, as a person, to be able to respond within 1 hour to emails and all that, even if it's midnight. So we had to come to an understanding. But you have to start doing something to make sure that there is a demarcation. Okay? And to be honest, many bosses and companies understand this. If we have been working for a while, chances are we would have people that are supporting us or people that we are working together in a team. So the question is, can we share the load? Can we delegate something? You need to take a look at that. Okay. At the same time, also, given that now is this notion of flexible working hour or working from home, flexible work arrangement is not a new concept anymore, right? Is it possible to explore this even further with your company or your team structure? Okay? Raise the possibility if you can. All right? But this one, I think, is something we can control ourselves. Can we set benchmarks or goals or targets which are reasonable, which are achievable? It is not something that's over the top where you find that no matter how hard you run, you will never reach it. Okay? We got to be very sure that, whatever we set ourselves to do, it is something that's achievable. So hopefully these are the few points that are useful for you.
What if I want to move to a job with less responsibilities? How can I convince potential employers of my sincerity?
Magic question. Maybe I flip it the other way around now. If you are the employer, you have someone who's got very strong experience and very highly qualified coming to apply for a job at your company, which is of lower position, lower pay, and so forth. What is going through your head? Interim measure? Yeah, you say maybe he won't stay long. Any other concerns? Maybe it's not healthy. Could be. That could be going through their head. Any others? Work-life balance, family issues. Yeah. Think from the point of view of the employer. Because once you understand the employer's point of view, you are able to address the issues better. All right? So essentially, if you look at it, employees really have the following concerns. Okay? Will you put in the effort or not? Are you, like somebody says, interim measure, temporary measure? How long are you going to stay? Is this like a stepping stone until something better comes along? All right? Are you running away from something? I've been an employer before. I think about these things also, Yeah? Salary expectations. Okay? Are you going to ask for exorbitant salaries? Right? Am I able to afford you? Okay? Will you fit in? You are older. Will you fit in with my team who's younger? Right? There may be others, but these are some of the key ones. Now, the first thing here I need everyone to understand is this. Okay? Nowadays, there are more and more people with this aim in mind to look for a job that is less stressful, okay, less demanding. It is not uncommon. It is happening more and more, right? Because now this notion of work-life balance is becoming more and more prevalent. And more companies are actually aware of this as well. So for someone who's applying for jobs that's of maybe lesser pay, less stressful, it is not uncommon. So that's the first thing you need to understand. So how do we deal with this? So again, we come back to the same thing. We need to find the company that accepts this. Okay. Again, this is doing your research, whether it's talking to your network, right, or doing your own research. But you have to find out, right? You all need to do. You need to highlight that you have skills that are relevant and transferable to this new role, even though it is supposedly lower, but you still have the skill set. You need to also emphasize this notion of how you can help the company to solve their problems. So here is talking about your accomplishments, what you have done, not about how high level you were, not about what sort of title you had. It's about what you have done to solve problems. There are concerns, so let's address the concerns up front as well, because you got to anticipate these concerns. So what are some of the good reasons that you might want to present yourself for a job with lesser responsibilities? So maybe I list down some good reasons to share. Better balance. Sometimes I've seen that work positively. You want to focus on a particular set of skills that you have rather than being distracted by bigger responsibilities. Okay. The new role that you're going after is related to a personal interest area of yours. Personal interest area of yours. Yeah. Or like somebody mentioned just now, you want to contribute to in a more defined and focused manner. Okay. So you notice all these reasons are positive reasons. Okay. And these reasons give the employers a very positive vibe to say, oh yeah, I can see why that person wants to go for my job, right? Because yes, he wants to seek a balance, but at the same time, he has skills and he wants to focus on the skills, and those skills can help me as an employer. Okay, so these are good reasons to show. You want to give examples, as many examples as possible about what you have done. Okay, whether you've adopted new roles or responsibilities as you were progressing through and how you adapted to that and worked with a team. And the team should be comprising different types of people. Okay, you worked with younger people, you got to show examples of how you worked with younger people or how you help and guided others. There was some part about mentorship. That could be one of the value adds that you give. Then this last part, you need to have an open mind, a flexibility about the work arrangements and the compensation. Okay, would you accept a job that maybe is on a contract short-term basis, but at least it gives you an idea to showcase your ability? Are you open to a job where they will bring you on a project basis? You need to think about all these things. There are plus and minus on this, especially, but it all depends on your own personal context. Okay, so you need to consider this. Let's round this off. Okay, so we've gone through the last learning outcome, which is to achieve a better work-life balance, and part of that was really to make sure you understand what you need, how you need to convince employers if you are going after a job which is of a supposedly lower level, or maybe you are overqualified. All right, let's summarize the whole thing. So I talked about these few areas here. Firstly, about recognizing discrimination in the workplace as well as job applications, and what can we do about it. Okay, essentially at the end of the day, we want to leverage on what we are good at versus younger people, which is what we have experienced, which is our ability to have insights into human nature, our ability to interact with other people. Okay, how do we stay relevant? Okay, essentially it is about coping with the changes that's involved. We also specifically mentioned about AI. The AI is a driver for the change. So how we talk about how we cope with the things that AI is bringing along. We also discussed about the difference between career and job security. And then I suggested that maybe it's the time to actually focus on career security rather than just only job security. But I think underlying everything we talked about here is this notion of being proactive. We got to get off our butt and do something, right? Opportunities. We talk about opportunities, okay? Here we spend a bit of time understanding why this is important for us at our age, okay? We emphasize this whole notion again of being proactive. We want to make sure that we get off our butt and go and look for opportunities or create opportunities, okay? We spent the last 10-15 minutes talking about work-life balance. Okay, we discussed that balance or imbalance is caused by a conflict, right, between our roles and responsibilities, our outlook and our expectations and reality rather. Okay, so how do we override this? It's really about understanding what our priorities are, making sure we understand what is important to us. Okay, not neglecting ourselves is also the other key thing, but at the same time being realistic.
I think my biggest takeaway is that I need to be responsible for my own career path and development. Every job is temporary is a phrase I'll remember most. I need to take charge.
For me, I think I see that I need to prove that I can do the job. This means I'll need to have the skills. Attitude and enthusiasm to learn is also key for me, so that employers can see I am suitable.
This is my next few workshops. In August, I'm going to do 2 workshops, 23rd and 29th. The one on the 29th is a full day live workshop at Lifelong Institute. So if you want, you can join me on that. But 23rd August is like this webinar session. Then on the 20th September is the other one. After this, I need you all to help me fill up this web form. So as a feedback for this survey. Then after the survey, I'm going to have another section. For those of you who are new to me, you can stay back and get and know how you can fill up a form to get the link to the video of this workshop.
A few moments later.
Let me go through the next section about how we can continue, and also more importantly, how we can get access to this video of this webinar. The first thing here is this. I'm recording this. I'm editing out all the Q&As. Give me your information. Or then when the video is ready, I'll send it to you in the form of a newsletter. I only send this newsletter once a month only. I need you to fill this up because I have your permission to send you that video link. So that's very important. So the next thing here is really about, my YouTube channel is there as well. So those things about hidden job market, the career switching and all that, the webinars are in that YouTube channel. So go and take a look. If you want to connect up with me on Facebook, I have a Facebook group which also talks about all the career. So by all means, subscribe to that as well. So my coaching packages, basically, I do private coaching. So I got 3 packages here: hidden job market, career redesign, and then one-on-one on Jobs Accelerator. So if you want, can go to my website, take a look at it. And then if you're interested, by all means, drop me an email. I have multiple inquiries about the career coaching certification. I train people to become career coaches so that they can get an internationally certified credential. So I represent an organization that's based in the US. This is the organization that is globally the earliest, the first organization to certify people to become career coaches. So I conduct that course. In fact, I think in Singapore, there's only about 5 to 6 people that do this. But the way I do it is very different from anyone else because I do it by a very small group. So if you are interested, drop me an email. I can tell you more. All right. I just want to round off by giving you all a sense of where I'm coming from in terms of where you should be focusing as far as your career and job is concerned, especially when you're over 40. Okay. We have a lot of things going on around us, and then we are always very worried about things. I think especially as we grow older, but at the end of the day, we have to understand what can we influence. Some things that we cannot influence, but there are some things we can influence, right? There are things also we can control: our thoughts, our actions, our words, reactions, our choices. So what I'm emphasizing here is instead of being caught up in things that are outside of our boundary of control, focus on things that matter to us. Be productive, be systematic. National Day is coming, so please do keep in touch. Take care, everyone. Be safe.